This is the Suzuki Ignis 1.2 GLX manual, and as you can tell, it's quite a small crossover with a very big personality. Today I'm going to be telling you what it's been like to live with this car for the past 6 months. Okay, so let's start with the interior. Very stylish, it's very funky, very youthful, which is exactly what the exterior of this car is trying to present, and I really have to say, every time you get behind the wheel, it is quite an occasion. There's little trims here and there that are very attractive, but at the same time, it's still very basic. It uses a lot of hard plastics, which I don't mind. They are fairly nice to the touch. My favorite piece of the interior is definitely the climate control switches. It looks like one of those secret canisters that you get in the sci-fi movies where government officials are trying to hide like a secret liquid. My least favorite part is definitely the steering wheel. I just don't like the fact that it's polyurethane. I understand this is a budget car, so it's a very mild criticism, but I just feel like how expensive can it be to add a piece of leather to it. Same thing with the shifter, but thankfully in the car's official accessories catalog, you can get a leather wrapped one. It's not the same with the steering wheel. I think they should probably consider adding that as an external accessory. The rear, not as special as the front, feels kind of plain. There's mainly use of black plastics. It's very monotonous, but thankfully the room there is fairly decent. Rear passengers that I've had throughout the 6 months, they've appreciated the size that's there. They've never felt too cramped. And overall the packaging has been great at this car. I've got more than enough headroom. Taller members of the staff did find that the car should have had reach adjustment in the steering wheel, otherwise they felt fairly comfortable here. Using this car over 6 months, obviously the big talking point of it is definitely that 1.2 litre straightforward engine. Very simple, attached to a 5-speed manual gearbox. There is an automatic available, but we actually haven't experienced it in the Ignis, so I can't comment on that. And it's been quite nice to use for the past 6 months. Controls are very soft, very fluid. The steering could have a bit more feel to it, but it's light. I mean, it's electrically assisted. Indian built cars generally, the steerings are, fairly light. Very nice to use when you're trying to park or when you're in slow-moving situations. Again, that appeals to the Indian market very strongly because you're never doing more than 40 or 50 there in busy roads. Yeah, up in the higher speeds it can get a bit wishy-washy. Shifter is very nice to use, even in traffic, not too hectic. The ratios are a bit short, so you do find yourself shifting in between first and second quite often when you're in slow-moving traffic. That can get a bit frustrating. And the pedals, also really nice to use, very light, not much pressure to them. So really, not a very tiring car to use on a daily basis. Where I did find a bit of a struggle with it was when traveling long distances. The ratios are fairly short, fourth and fifth are a little bit longer. But the problem is that 1.2 litre engine with its small torque figure, it struggles up hills, and you're really going to struggle when you're trying to overtake someone. So you need to plan precisely. If you're going up a hill, you need to stick it in third. Fourth or fifth, you're going to lose speed. Also, again, not enough torque to pull it up, even though a lot of this car's performance is based on the fact that it's extremely light. The power that you get from the engine is not high, it's very small, but it works well thanks to a good power to mass ratio. It's been an extremely efficient engine. I've been getting consistently below 7 litres per 100 Ks. I am a bit of a heavy-footed driver, so if you drove normally, you would easily get this car in the 6s and the 5 litres per 100 Ks. Thanks to an increased ride height, this car is also quite comfortable. I wouldn't really take it out on the harshest of surfaces, even though it is a crossover. But on any bumpy roads, you really don't feel much crashing through the seat. Internationally, this car does come with a 4x4 system, but it's a very basic one, so I don't think there's any value in us having it here. For that, obviously, there is something like the Jimny. But yeah, I think the local offering of this car is quite perfect and it caters towards the South African consumer. My favorite moment with this car has to be one day when I was sitting in traffic and this old lady in a silver Ignis was in the oncoming lane, and she smiled and waved at me, and I think that sums up this car very well, because it's so quirky, because it's so different, but because it's still such an honest car, it appeals to the South African consumer. I feel it's something that it's exactly what they want, and the fact that you can get one automatic as well shows that it does cater for a lot of the population, and the owners know this, and because of this they feel this very strong sense of camaraderie amongst one another. And the only other car I've experienced that in is in my 1974 Austin Mini, which is a car that has a great community around it, especially here in South Africa. And I don't want to say for sure, but I feel like the Ignis could be that car one day in the future. After spending 6 months with the Ignis, I can comfortably say that it is a very competitive product. It offers an entertaining drive and very decent standard spec. To be honest, under the 200,000 Rand mark, you are going to struggle to find something that is a better deal than this.